what I'm going to do is I'll take this opportunity to introduce our guest today. Uh, we have with us Professor Arun Sachar, who is the Associate Dean, Management and Commerce, SRM University, Delhi NCR Sonipat campus. His educational qualifications include a PhD in Organization Development and two post-graduations in Public Administration and Management from prestigious five-star rated NAAC accredited central and state universities. And his graduation in Sciences. His work experience spans over 3 decades. His life goal is to develop efficient organizations with work environment that stimulate growth and high performance in employees. His core areas of expertise include organizational development, managerial effectiveness, strategic management, learning and development, team building and leadership, training and development, cross-cultural management, human resources and development, corporate communication, and international relations. He has a rich area of international exposure, both in academia. He has worked as a guest faculty and attended multiple universities like NYU, Anglo-Ruskin University, and University of Leeds. And he comes from biggest of organizations like Ranbaxy and has several acclaimed publishings to his names as well. So it's a privilege and honor for us to be here to have you with us today.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for a nice introduction. I'm a very simple person. So you have given a very big introduction of me. So I would say that I'm a student like all of you. So I learn every day. So 3 decades is very less time because I feel that the whole lifespan of individual is very less. There are too many things to learn. But yeah, definitely these 3 decades I have seen a lot of disruptions, right? So I was not at all technology savvy. The first disruption I have seen that in 90s, our company was the first Indian company who implemented SAP, right? So in 90s, it was the first Indian company who implemented SAP. So bigger challenge in front of us at that time was that none of us was knowing computers. So we tied up with NIT and we created a Swift. They were having a very popular Swift program. So we trained all employees of our company at that time and make sure that all employees, they become technology savvy. So that was the first disruption of technology I've seen in 90s. After that, I've seen a lot of disruptions. And if I foresee the kind of management which we studied long time back, and if we talk now, none of that exists. So today, everything has been replaced by technology. Everything, it has gone into a very, very different directions. So I would say that it has added newer dimensions of skills, newer dimensions of learning, and basically the new platforms, right, which everybody is supposed to explore. So I would say that with this disruption in technology, a lot of new things have happened, a lot of new avenues has been generated, and this has opened a plethora of opportunities in front of young professionals today. So the professionals who are able to grab these opportunities, they're bound to rule the world in next 10 to 20 years. That's a little bit which I learned over the years on all that.
Yeah, I think so. It couldn't have been a better way, the way you said it. I think learning never ends, and we have a lot of students here today with us across classes and some young students as well. Would definitely want to dive into the topic as well, because today we are talking about business analytics and big data. Those are the biggest disruptions that we have observed, and you probably have seen it over your course of time. Would love to hear from you that what is business analytics and big data all about? Because a lot of students today don't even have the clarity on that.
Abhishek, I would like to just pinpoint some of the statistics before I come to what big data is all about. So basically, if you see in layman terms, we need to understand that information is generated and collected at a rate that rapidly exceeds the boundary range. Current year, 4.66 billion people around the world, they have used the internet, which is actually 3.16 million. That is 7.3% higher than the 2020. If you see this growth statistics from 2020 to 2021, 7.3% growth rate, and the way technology is taking its it is taking its own shape into the various areas, you will find in the years to come this data is bound to increase more. So technically, all this thing, this great amount of data, this call for new skill set, and ability to use different sort of tools to look at this detailed data and then predict the various strategies according to it. So the big data, it explores this kinds of field. Apart from this, in other term, the workplaces of today, they are automated. So machine learning and lot of automation, it has happened at the workplaces. So they have also generated a demand for the higher skill set. So the big data and the business analytics, these fields, they are the most appropriate field. Technically, if we talk of business analytics, it is a field that drive practical data driven changes in business. So it is a practical application of statistical analysis that focus on basically providing actionable recommendations. I just want to say that today, the way companies are driving their strategies, it has never happened in past. So there you are able to predict demographically that males are using this product more, females are using this product more, age group of 18 to 42 is using this products more. So technically the companies just on the data only, everything is on the data. So it has helped large amount of companies to drive their strategies, to understand that what is the status of their product life cycle. Because you could see large amount of people, they are not able to understand what is happening to their businesses, right? Competition comes and competition kills them, and sometime immediately they start having a degrowth in their businesses. The problem is that they are not able to analyze the changing patterns. So these two fields, business analytics and big data analytics, they are the field that actually gives you a lot of intelligent inputs. So with the help of that, you are able to take the predictable decisions for your business as well as for the industries. So you can forecast your future trends. You can foresee the kind of strategies which you are using in present scenario, whether these strategies are working well or they are giving them the desired results. So for all the short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals of the organization, so whatever objective they have set, with the help of all this, they are able to go very near to their targets. If they are not able to understand these things, then practically today, because of the technology disruption, all your short-term goals, they become long-term goals. So you are not able to realize because you are not able to understand what is happening, what kind of changes are happening. So I want to cite another interesting case study here, that the senior Bajaj, he was being interviewed. I was in one of a conference, and press people, they were interviewing senior Bajaj, and they asked senior Bajaj that, look, you have retired, right? So you have given all the organization in all the reins of the organization into your son's hand, who is very young. So, and are you fearing from the business competition? The senior Bajaj told that, my dear friend, I have enjoyed that time period where I have sold my scooter on premium. The Bajaj Chetak, the Bajaj Priya, all of our students, they are young, but if they ask their father or their grandfather, they will able to tell them that Bajaj Chetak and Bajaj scooter, Bajaj Priya scooter, at one point of time, you have to pay black for them. So you have to use international money, dollars, pounds, and if you are able to book that, they used to give you delivery after 1 month or 2 months. Advanced money they used to take, and more than the price. So senior Bajaj told that I have enjoyed that time, but now changing business trends, I'm not able to understand. So I have given everything to my son, and my son has been very intelligent. He has launched more than 30 brand and brand extensions, and it is just because of the analysis of the data. That youngster, he was able to predict that what kind of demographic changes are happening. With the help of that, he was able to launch different models of motorcycles, different models of their scooters, and from scooters he has diversified actually to the motorcycles, two-wheelers, and he was able to drive the strategies of take the Bajaj Auto to the next level. Otherwise, you could see that with the help of technology disruption, with the kind of changes that has happened, they could have raised question marks in front of Bajaj Auto. So with the help of this, I think I am able to predict that from the history and from the present scenario, how this big data, it has actually yielded positive results for most of the organizations.
So that is the perfect example, I think, what you shared, because that has been the major change, right? And I'm grateful to you that you have explained it with such a great example. The next question I'm going to pose to you is because personally, I witnessed this question being asked and thrown around a lot. People love the term analytics and big data, but students don't really know what are the careers they can get into. Now, we, as a matter of fact, know they are pervasive, fit into any industry. But what are the career options that a student can consider getting into with these domains?
Abhishek, I first want to cite one particular
Please,
example.
sir, please.
My nephew works as a media analytics manager for Pepsi UK.
Right.
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 So, plus, just mind this word, media analytics manager. So he takes care of the whole Pepsi UK operation business pertaining to media analytics only. So you will be surprised that this is a designation which you get after having your careers in the area of analytics. He is basically a pass out from Oxford, so SAT Business School. But yeah, he is into data analytics. So in my university, I just requested him, and he conducted a guest lecture this semester only for our student, and he explained that how this data analytics is helping even the bigger corporations to grow. So this is just one of the career which I've just spoken in front of you, media analytics. Apart from this, you have a lot of careers available. You have business intelligence developer, supply chain analyst, predictive analyst, modeler, planning analyst, artificial intelligence analyst, technical team leaders. Apart from this, digital marketing analyst, HR analyst, retail analyst. So you have all these specializations available in the area of big data analytics, and you will find that majority of these industries, they would like to actually recruit people in these areas. So the people who have specialized in the area of supply chain as a supply chain analyst, people who have worked in the area of human resources as a HR analyst, so people who have worked even in the area of digital marketing, so digital marketing analyst. So these are few of the things. Apart from this, data analyst, higher end jobs, data scientist, data engineer, chief data officer, market research analyst, machine learning engineer, and so on. These are just few of the examples I have spoken in front of you. Apart from this, plenty of other different kind of jobs are available. So you could well imagine in 2 minutes time, if I am able to cite about more than
Absolutely.
25 to 30 different designations, you could well imagine that how much demand is there of these particular courses in industry.
No, absolutely, sir. And just to add to that, and you mentioned these careers, now they are available in every possible industry. I can go and pick up this job in any possible industry because end of the day, everybody needs that. I think my favorite example with this is Netflix. If you imagine predicting the patterns of things, and you can go on with it. So thank you for sharing that, sir.
Abhishek, I would just like to
please.
highlight one more. I would request all the students to just go on internet and just listen that Google CEO Sundar Pichai speech, right?
Yes.
And every student must listen that particular video and see that particular speech. You'll able to understand a lot about that, how data is changing the lives of people and what is the importance of data.
Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant example. So I've heard the speech, the one you're mentioning about. That's a great example. So every student here should listen to that. I want to now move towards your university because the kind of program you have, would love to hear in depth about what was the mindset behind you creating the program, sir, which you were discussing earlier, and what is the program hold that students should definitely look it up, like take the program forward.
The history of these things were being laid out 2010-12 when I was basically in NL, that University of New York, and by Poly. So I've seen the program of technology management. So okay. I came to India afterward, and then at that time I tried that we should start that program, but we are always 10 years late than US and all the top nations, right, developed nations. So technically 2010 to 2020, I could not find a bigger scope coming, right? 2016, 17. But last 2-3 years, suddenly the movement, there was a good movement toward artificial intelligence, machine learning, business analytics, data, and so on. So it has prompted my mind, my mind has gone to the same thing. And I thought that we should design a program where we should give opportunity to our arts and commerce and management student to also join the bandwagon of technology. Otherwise, technology bandwagon is being joined by only engineers, right? The people who have a huge knowledge background of softwares and plenty of other things. So this came to my mind that when there is a data engineer, lot of data is there, then there will be lot of problem of managing the data. So there should be managers also. So this has prompted me to think over. And initially we started with the BBA Business Analytics. So we started last year. So this program has done very well. So this program we are running with IBM. So another thing was that when I was thinking of creating this kind of program, the first and foremost thing that came in front of me was that industry interaction is the most important thing in these programs, right? And when I've done a lot of research, I found that IBM is one company. If you see majority of that software is being used in artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics, they are from the IBM. So IBM was my first choice to start with the collaboration. And we had a discussion, and then the IBM faculty and me, we sat for, I think, more than, I would say, we were having 6 hours of long sessions, and it lasted for 3 days, 4 days. We were able to think and brainstorm, and then we were able to decide that what kind of a program we should design. And we were able to finalize the kind of courses for our postgraduate program. And then we came with MBA Big Data Analytics and MBA Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. And you will be surprised that these programs, which we are launching, we have launched this year with the help of IBM technically. So they are providing you not only the degree only, but they are providing you some international certification opportunities also along with this program, right? And not only this, you are getting projects every semester, live projects with IBM. IBM faculty, they're teaching you one full core subject in every semester. So a lot of opportunities are there. And this program has been specially designed, keeping in mind the needs of industries, future needs of industry, so that we are able to provide our student a career, and we are able to provide them a career that technically everybody is having a dream of. That was a foundation of basically starting these programs in our university. And our university is always known for its academic, I would say, brilliance. SRM is known for its academic brilliance. And our chancellor always wanted that our SRM Sonipat should have a niche programs. And he has given a lot of support to us, and we were able to launch these programs. And my endeavor is only one, that I want that our youngsters, they should lead the change, right? And they should be in position to project India at the world map, so that we are from the developing nation to a developed nation. This journey we should be in position to complete. So this is a small contribution towards it from our side.
And so what a wonderful contribution. I mean, whatever you're saying was music to my ears, because like I was telling you earlier, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, we would never anticipated courses like this coming to India, which the university is enabling. My next question to you is, now you're already talking about bringing international exposure and kind of collaboration with IBM. What, according to you, are the other skills that a student might need or the university will help them develop to pursue a career in this field down the line? What are the few tips?
Abhishek, the most important thing is like these MBA program. We request, we see that the student should have a good background of mathematics,
right?
Because these fields, they require a lot of background of mathematics. So we say that student should, if an engineer is joining this program, it is a boom for him, because he's having a background of engineering, and then afterward he's doing MBA Big Data Analytics and MBA Artificial Intelligence. So it gives a very nice combination for him to grow further in organizations. Right. But if a person from other courses is joining these programs, he should have a mathematical background at 12th level, or he should have an ability to understand maths, because big data analytics is all about predictions, predictive analytics. Even in artificial intelligence and machine learning also, a lot of programming things are there. So I think this is a basic requirement from a student. This is a very big step, because it is very difficult for arts and commerce student to learn science. So
Right.
I'm giving them an opportunity that if they're joining this program from arts and commerce, they can also join science, and they can have a their journey in the area of technology. Because these programs, you have all the subjects, they have the labs also associated with it. So the student will have a hands-on experience, practical exposure. And this is a brief about this programs.
No, that's wonderful, sir. And
Uh, there are some students, I think they were putting questions about the career
yes,
options.
yes,
So I'll repeat for those
please,
students
please,
that
please.
I have repeated. I think some students, they joined late, so they have asked. So I'm repeating again, friends, that uh, media analytics manager, digital marketing analytics manager, HR analytics manager, marketing analytics manager, business intelligence developer, supply chain analyst, planning analyst, predictive analyst modeler, technical team leaders, artificial intelligence analyst. Apart from this, data analyst, data scientist, machine learning engineer, application architect, data engineer, business analyst, chief data officer, market research analyst, and so on.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. In fact, so there's a question: data science and big data, are they the same thing?
Uh, Basically, what we say that they have a relationships, right? So technically, but what we say, the data science is a broader aspect, right?
Right.
And big data becomes a part of it. So big data analytics, we are using this word is because big data has become very prominent, right? And it is being used very frequently. But that's the only thing. But they have a very strong correlation also with each other.
No, perfect, sir. Thank you for addressing that. I have another small question for you in that perspective. I know, and like you mentioned, student from any domain can come in and take this course in particular. But what would you recommend that a student coming from probably a humanities or a commerce background, what are the few things? Of course, maths and quants is one thing they should be good at. But what are the other things that are necessary for them?
Okay. See, I would say that the most important thing is desire of learning is very important,
Of
right?
course.
Because these programs are those kind of programs where just by having a theoretical orientation, you cannot get success. So application is very important. So if you see that the amount of inputs which you are putting in learning, first you will be learning theory, then you will be going to the labs, you will be putting your practical insights in the lab, you will be developing program, you will be working on predictive analytics, sample things, and some certain projects on that. So a student should have a desire of learning, right? That's the most important thing, I would say, apart from mathematics. The third and the foremost thing I would say is a positive attitude. Yes,
Right.
majority of the student, they say I can't, right? It is impossible for me to do because mathematics is involved in all. I
Right.
would say that if you break the impossible, it becomes I am possible.
Possible. Correct.
So I would say that all the students, they should have this approach, I am possible, if they are joining these courses. Because we are providing a lot of support in terms of mentoring from the faculty, in terms of support from industry, and so on. So it will not be difficult for any of the student to understand the curriculum part and to understand the application part. So a lot of support on that end is being provided to the student. Moreover, in our university, in our business school, we are having a lot of support systems, and we have a very, I would say, amicable learning environment. I would say that student learn, we have a peer learning associated with it. We have collaborative learning. We have learning from industry managers, the top people who are coming in the form of guest lectures, and plenty of other learning opportunities. So I would say that students should be hardworking. Students should have a basic knowledge of mathematics, a desire to learn, and most important thing is again this I am possible attitude. So I would say these are a few things that can make a student join the bandwagon of technology.
No, I think that covers it up, sir, the way you mentioned as well. So there's another question that I wanted to address is, can I pursue data analysis if I don't enjoy coding and programming?
Uh, I would say that you can definitely go into this, that there are certain areas of data analytics, they don't have huge amount of coding and programming. coding and programming, it is basically data engineering part. So if you are going into data engineering part, technically you will be requiring all that. But yeah, different careers there. I've spoken more than 25 careers in front of you. So out of that, there are plenty of careers who doesn't require the coding and developing part. So student can definitely join and pursue those kind of careers.
So you want to address this question as well? The pros and cons of pursuing a career in big data and business analytics.
Okay. I would say the pros and cons, if you are talking of that today, when you are living in an era, I could take you back in 90s. I was not knowing what is computer. All of you are born in that age when the computers and mobiles, they are in your hand, and you know, right from day one, you are using technology. So I was in that era in 90s that I was not knowing what the computer is all about, how to operate the computer. And I was working in industry at a senior position. And suddenly our company was first Indian multinational company, and we implemented the SAP, right? It was a ERP software. And believe me, it was very difficult for the company to implement ERP because none of the person in the industry was knowing what the computer is. The first thing what we did was we connected with NIT and their Swift program. That program was imparted 3 days, 4 days to each and every employee of the company, so that they are able to understand the basics of technology. So why I'm sharing this, I'm telling all the youngsters that next 10, 20 years time, all of you are about to face this kind of scenario where everywhere you will find artificial intelligence, big data. And if you are not studying this, if you are not joining this, you will able to regret. You will able to see that perhaps if we could have joined at that time this particular area, we could have been into a very good career. So that's the answer to the question which you have asked. I want to just cite the statistics again, so that our students, they are able to understand. This year, approximately 4.66 billion people, they have used internet, which is 316 million, that is 7.3% more than 2020. So you could see, if the same way growth is happening every year, how much data is adding into the kitty and how big this world will be. So it is you who have to decide that whether you want to join a bigger world of opportunities or you want to remain with a smaller world of opportunities. The choice is yours.
No, I think so. That's a very good question to let them ponder over. And I love the example you shared. So another question, this is for Kajol, who is doing her MBA in business analytics right now. And she's asking that, what is the area that I should be focusing on as an MBA in business analytics?
I would say that it depends upon your choice, right? So technically, if you want to pursue your career in the area of marketing, you can go for specialization in the area of marketing, digital marketing analytics, retail analytics, and plenty of this kind of thing. If you want to pursue your career in the area of finance, you can go for financial analytics and this kind of specialization further in big data. Same way, if you want to go in the area of HR, human resource, you can go for HR analytics and the supportive courses in the area of that. So again, the choices as per the taste. It is nothing like this. Every field is having a lot of opportunities available. So wheresoever your taste and preferences there, you can go for the specialization further. You can choose the subject combinations as per that particular area, and definitely you can get access.
Wonderful. And I think the easiest example, sir, that I would like to give, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is a chartered accountant. I can work in a hotel or hospital. It's my preference, right, where I want to go. So it's a similar thing here. Yeah. Arsh is asking, and I think the answer is going to be yes only, that a BSc in stats can also pursue this career. Can that support?
Absolutely. It supports a lot. It will be a huge boost to the career of BSc stats person, because he is having a good background of statistics. So he'll able to apply all the learnings of statistics very good into that predictive analytics and plenty of other options in the area of big data.
So this is very interesting question. I think a lot of people will benefit if you can answer this. The key difference between data science and analysis, because a lot of people get mixed up with this.
I would say that data science is a very wider word, right?
Okay.
So we take portions of data science, right? So data analysis is that portion analysis. So whatever small portion we have picked up, it may be pertaining to that business analytics part. It may be pertaining to supply chain analytics part. It can be pertaining to digital marketing analytics parts. It can be pertaining to financial analytics part. So when we are talking of data analytics, we are talking of basically about that small portion of data which we are doing analysis.
Right.
So data science is a wider thing. So a lot of things come under that. So I think people should not confuse, but they are all interrelated, right? So they have connections with each other. So data science, without data science, data analysis cannot happen, right? So
Correct.
all of you should have this kind of clarity in your mind. Fine.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So I think we'll keep asking questions. And I have one more question that I wanted to ask you is about that. What is the eligibility criteria for somebody applying to SRM for this particular course?
If you want to go for a BBA business analytics course, for that eligibility criteria is +2 mathematics, right? The +2, basically +2 with any of the area. For business analytics, they can join, any of the person can join. Even without maths also, people can join this. But yeah, the people who are going for MBA, right? Big data analytics and MBA artificial intelligence and machine learning, we prefer that if engineers are joining, it is much better for them. But if engineers are not joining, the graduates are joining, they should have at least +2 science, +2 mathematics, right? So if they don't have +2 mathematics, even the BBA student, they have studied mathematics during their BBA or during their graduation, that will also work very well. So the logic is that the student should not have a fear of mathematics when they're joining a course of MBA Big Data Analytics and MBA Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. Now, these are the basic qualifications. And I would say the percentage is that for MBA graduation, you should have a minimum of 50% marks. This is a normal criteria which Government of India, they have decided for the courses. So our universities also follow all the direction which the Government of India, they have decided for the various courses. We go for that. But you will be surprised that whatever students who have got admission into our BBA Business Analytics course, so till now, all the students who have got into this course, they are above 87-88%. So technically, large amount of students who have scored higher marks, they have a preference of going into these courses. But I always say that it is not that marks that makes a difference when you are going for an entry. I always say even the student who are not able to do well even their graduation part, they have an opportunity. So if they decide that graduation we were having 60% marks, but we want to join this kind of a course and will do hard work, they can also do Excel. So as a dean, I don't demarcate between this thing. So that is the reason we follow that Government of India guidelines, that even a student who is having a percentage above 50% can join these courses in graduation.
Wonderful, sir. So is there any entrance exam for this course? I know SRM has entrances for the courses.
Yeah, SRM HCAT we were having. So last time, this last month, SRM HCAT was there. Any student who have appeared with SRM HCAT, they can directly, actually, they can come. Apart from this, we support CAT score. The student who have appeared in CAT and they have a valid score, so we go for CAT. We take even NMAT score, we take even ZAT score. Student who have gone for XLRI, they have. Apart from this, a student can directly apply also, that they have a special opportunity. So they can directly apply to our university and we can conduct their GDPI. And based on that GDPI, we can actually admit them in these courses.
So does your MBA course need work experience or can they apply directly after undergraduation?
A student can apply directly also after the graduation. Work experience is always considered good, but if they don't have good work experience with them, they are fresher, they want to join, we don't hesitate taking them, because we have designed our courses in such a way that we are able to provide them a lot of practical exposure. So in the form of projects.
So speaking of practical exposure in particular, and this is probably the last question I have for you, is because you are collaborating with IBM and you know IBM has so many certification courses. So if I'm in grade 11 or 12 and I have no idea about the domain, but I want to get interested, are there any courses you like to recommend, or do you think those courses add value if I take up those online courses?
What I would say is that suppose there is always, whatever you're doing, I would say that it is having no advantage. right?
Yeah.
So I have spoken earlier also that learning is very important in life. So whenever you're doing any certification, you are adding some value into your kitty. But yeah, there is always a difference between a degree and a certification, right? So when you are doing a certification from IBM and you have done a degree in collaboration with IBM, you will
Makes
always
a big
find that degree will going to give you a bigger edge.
difference.
Secondly, in this degree itself, when you are doing those courses, IBM is giving you opportunity to have international certification free of cost, right? So the student can earn all of that together.
I think so. You mentioned this, but if there's anything you want to add, Angad is asking that what is the involvement of IBM in the progress of this course, which I think you just answered.
I would say that if you do a research analysis, you will able to find that across the globe, 60 to 65% of the tools or various things that you are using in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data analytics, they are actually basically a patented tools of IBM. So you
Right.
see SPSS, you are using SPSS in
That's
statistics, it
IBM
is
as
it
well.
is
Yes.
IBM, right? So technically, IBM, that is why IBM was a first choice to go for collaboration. Because if you're talking of big data analytics, if you're talking of artificial intelligence and machine learning, without IBM, it is not completed. So if you are collaborated with IBM, it means you have access to each and everything of IBM, right? So that is a bigger thing. Even if you are not studying that course, but you have access to the research materials and each and everything. So they provide that to all their students, right? So that is a very big access to the data, big access to the research, big access to the world, a lot of projects, and plenty of other supportive things from IBM. Uh, IBM faculty is going to teach one full subject along with the labs every semester to these students. They will be,
So
yeah, they will be
no,
actually, all the students will be doing live projects with IBM. So IBM is having huge contribution into this program.
no, I think so. The name IBM in itself is a major boost for anybody wanting to work in the industry, and
So
wherever I want to go, it helps.
you go to any place and you say that I have done MBA big data. So MBA big data, plenty of people might be providing you. But when you say MBA big data with IBM,
Of course.
so there will be very few who will be providing you that. So you will be having a niche thing, and that too with industry collaboration with you. So that is always going to give you a bigger edge.
Absolutely, sir. So Aryan is asking about the tuition fees of the course. Can you share that as well?
Yeah. The tuition fee for the course is 2,35,000 a year, right? So for big data analytics as well as for artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Wonderful, sir. Perfect. I think those are all the questions we have. If anyone has any of couple of last questions that sir can address, sir has been very kind and generous for his time and sharing. So, I mean, it has been tremendous learning for me, and I'm sure for everybody who was here today. But if anyone has a couple of questions that we can address, any scholarships, sir, that are available.
Yeah, scholarship is provided to the student. There are different kind of scholarship. There is a Haryana domicile scholarship available, that if a student is having Haryana domicile, they can apply for that Haryana domicile scholarship. Apart from this, there is a merit scholarship available. So the merit scholarship is the student who have got a very good percentage, high percentage during their graduation. So last degree exam. So they are eligible for those scholarships. So it is when you apply, and you apply with your marks and degrees. And even when we are conducting GDPI, so if you are able to score very well in GDPI, and you are already having a very good score, we can consider for some merit scholarships. Otherwise, if you see that the price, the cost which we have kept for these courses, it's very competitive. So if
Absolutely.
you even if you see a journal management program anywhere, you will find they may be charging even more than this. But our university, our endeavor is that we are not only thinking of this thing that we have to make money with this. We say that we should provide education which is competitive in cost, and which is able to build careers of large amount of the students, and they are able to add value to the society also. So that is why we have kept a very reasonable price for these courses.
So one last question I would think I'll have for you is there any online version of the course as well, or it's gonna be completely on campus?
These courses will be more or less only on the campus, but yeah, this semester there will be that, as per the government guidelines.
Of course,
If
of course.
because of this COVID scenario, I
Right.
think the classes can happen online. And this online is not only with us, it is across the globe. Even
Absolutely.
Harvard, if you are studying in Harvard, if you are
Yes.
studying in Yale, that I have a friend whose son is studying in Yale. My nephew is studying in Canada. He's in Queen's College, but he's taking
Is it?
lectures sitting in Punjab. So this scenario is across the globe. So I would say that preferably we'll be having on-campus classes, but yeah, this semester, if the government guidelines, it goes the same way, so we'll go online. But yeah, as soon as this restrictions are lifted, we would love our students to come on campus and have a physical presence there.
Wonderful, sir. But I think those were the extent of questions we had. I want to quickly thank you for all your time and information to share. And personally love the program that the university and you have created. And I really hope the way you've envisioned it grows the same way. But would definitely, I can promise you that everybody here would have taken away something from this and they'll reach out. So is there an email ID that we can provide for you that they can reach out?
Yeah, definitely. There is you can take my personal email ID also. It is ARUN Arun, SACHER Sachar @srmuniversity.ac.in. This is one my personal ID. If anybody is having any queries, they can definitely
Thanks,
write
sir.
to
I'll
me
put it
and
down.
I can answer that. Otherwise, for admission, the student can directly log into our website, SRM University. We have our admission links available. So that admission link, the student, they can directly go and they can fill their registration form. And then afterward, we can call them for GDPI and they can join further.
Perfect, sir. That is brilliant. And thank you so much once again. And thank you so much to all our audiences for coming together, all the students, parents who were here today. I saw a few educators, very familiar names who are always diligent, and would definitely ask you to look up the course. Even if you're not thinking about it, you never know, you might discover something that's interesting for you. So do have a look, go to the website, ask your questions. In case you have further doubts, you can write to us at hello@Mindler. Raghav has put down the email ID itself. And please stay tuned for further webinars as well. And do take care. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
Really appreciate
Abhishek.
your time.
Thank you, friends. Wishing you all the best for all your career endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Have a good evening.
Bye. Thank you.